Be bold.
Be bold.
Be heard.
Be heard.
Welcome to Every Story Matters with your host, Jessica Bell.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Every Story Matters. I'm here with Tony. Today, he's going to share his story, talk a little bit about some of the things he's overcome. I'm super excited to have him here. I'm going to just let him have the floor and get started, and I pray you guys are blessed.
Hey guys, Jessica, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. For those of you that don't know me, I am Tony Polanco, massage therapist, just in case you guys are wondering. And at the same time, thank you so much for having me, Jessica. It's so much different being on the other side. Now I understand what they mean. So I kind of just want to share a little bit about my story. Maybe a little, let me start. Currently, I am going to LACC. I'm working on getting my psychology major. I want to be a therapist because my therapist helped me so much. As a Latino, I never wanted to go to a therapist, and if I ever did, everything was always perfect. So finally finding the right therapist that made me open up and be real with my emotions and what I'm really feeling changed my life. And I believe I want to do the same for others. And so, but before I did that, I became a massage therapist. And that's what ultimately opened up my doors to want to become a psychologist. Because when you massage, I believe a lot in energy. And I believe in healing people. So whenever I massage someone, it's very spiritual. I go somewhere and it's somewhere beautiful. And as I'm massaging people, they opened up and they told me a lot of stuff about them. So then I pretty much figured, they're like, you should become a therapist. You should become a therapist. I listened. So now I'm back in school. But this is what I really want to focus on. I'm 34 years old now. I went back to school when I was 33. And it was scary going back to school. I felt like it's too late a lot. I know you always hear it's never too late, but only because you hear something doesn't mean you don't feel it. I felt it was too late. I was like, go back to school now. I won't finish until I'm 37, 38. Just seems so far, And now, now that I'm back in school, I'm so glad I did go back to school. I'm almost done with my 2 years. I'm almost done with my sophomore year. And I'm pretty excited about that to transfer. Hopefully transfer to Eureka, California, to Humboldt University. That's where I really want to get my bachelor's degree from. It's surrounded by nature. It's surrounded by God, I feel, in my opinion. And I do got to say that everything is thanks to God. Everything I've overcome, everything I've accomplished, because although my life is amazing now, it wasn't always amazing. I did go through a path of addiction. And I was very successful as a car salesman. But when you start making that type of money, you do have money to waste. And I did not waste it correctly. I was an alcoholic. And I got to say, as an alcoholic or as an addict, I don't want to say I was, because I feel I'm always going to be one. And I did lose myself to crystal meth. A lot of people look at me and they're like, well, you have nice teeth. And I go like, thank you. I guess that's what's supposed to be done. But yeah, that's what I lost myself to. I was drinking a lot. I ended up in jail for a bit. Went to rehab for 8 months. And in all this, I never stopped seeking God. Never stopped seeking God. I never stopped seeking God. Even in my addiction, I was still a good person. I'll be in my addiction, but I wouldn't go steal. I wouldn't go rob. I wouldn't wasn't those type of addicts. I still had that fear of God in me. Like God, like even in my addiction, I was like, God, please help me get out of it. And I remember ready to kill myself. I was done. I was done. I was too paranoid. I kept seeing things, and that's when I just felt this thing go somewhere where you feel God would be there. And ironically, I went to a cemetery. It was the closest cemetery I could find, and I went to the cemetery on my knee and started praying and praying. And that's when I felt the presence of God. He told me, "Go home. Let's go home." You know, and I didn't come home. I didn't want to come to mom's house because I felt, you know, you don't want your mom seeing you like that, you know, tweaked out at the lowest point. You know, when I left the house, I was the top of my class. I was successful. I had it all, and come back beaten, you know. But like in the Bible, there's the story of the prodigal son, where the son, one of them stays and one of them leaves. But when he came home, the dad just embraced him, didn't care what he did. And I had a beautiful mom, and she did the exact same thing. I came home, and she just embraced me. She was just happy I was okay. And she gave me a flyer. She said, "I don't know how I have this, but I'm supposed to give this to you." And it was a flyer to go to Grandview Rehab in Pasadena. And that was the beginning of my change. I met some of the most amazing people. They were incredible. The support to know that other people had the same story as me. You know, a hard upbringing, violence, no love. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I gotta say my upbringing was good and bad. I had those really good moments with my parents where it's just like beautiful that I'm like, wow. But I also had those really bad ones where it's just like, damn, why'd you beat me like that, man? I'm a kid. And I know other people relate to this, you know, especially when I was locked up. You know, when I was locked up, the common core story I heard between me and some of the great people I met there were our upbringing. And how, you know, how are we supposed to love the world, or how are we supposed to love ourselves if no one has taught us how to love ourselves? You know, so being around people that show you unconditional love, you know, in rehab, I met my spiritual dad there, and now we're 5 years strong, and we're still pushing. We're still doing amazing. We never went back to our old ways. But this is someone that at one time the whole people just didn't care about him anymore. You know, people gave up on him, and it's this man that kind of comes into my life that just tells me, "Hey, man, everything you did is okay. Everything you did is okay, man. It's out there. You told somebody. It's not a secret no more." That was, I didn't have no more secrets, you know, because, you know, we do things behind closed doors, and we're so ashamed of it that we never let anyone know, you know, which feeds our addiction more and more. And in our addictions, we do more and more bad stuff because we're in our addiction. But then you meet someone that you can be completely open with, no judgment. You're gonna keep it confidential. You know, no, I don't care. You know, I talk about it. You know, I'm tell people I prison. You know, but you know, and having to really talk to you know, with just God, send somebody, actually just send somebody. And I prayed for a healing, and He sent me an angel. You know.
If I can just ask you a question really quick. I know you were talking about the many different things that you have gone through in your life, but one of the things that stood out to me was you saying that you always kept that love for God, and you would always pray, and you always knew He was there. So what do you think it was that even in your like lowest moments, you still were reaching out to God? Because I know sometimes when people get low, they're done with God. They don't want to talk to Him. What do you think it was about you, or just internally, what it was that made you say, like, even in my lowest moments, I still know that God is real, and I can still pray to Him?
I think I've always been into meditation and studying, seeking knowledge and stuff. And I've read enough of the Bible to know sometimes things have to happen to us. It's all balance. And, everybody remembers Moses. Nobody really thinks about Aaron. You know what I mean? So I always think about that stuff. What if I'm just Aaron and I'm supposed to learn something from something and I help somebody else change the world? I'm all right with that. When I realized, God, there's a song by Hillsong. I think that's what they're called. And it goes, I've seen you move. I've seen you move the mountains. And I know I'm going to see you do it again. I've seen God move so many mountains in my life. Man, it's just like, how could I not have faith? And then at the same time, I don't ever really blame God for my mistakes. A lot of times, God, what is this happening to me? And the more I think about it, it's just like, I did all that. Like I put myself in there. I decided to push myself away from God. God was always there. The same way that my mom was always here. It was me. The more and more sin I was in, the further I wanted to be away from God. Like hiding in a sense. Kind of like, church people don't see me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want the church people to know. Because the truth is, God's always there. In my opinion. I know we all believe different things, but in my opinion and what I feel, what really helped ultimately, though, was since I was little, my mom always took me to church. It was always, so it was installed in me. But I believe that in church, I also stopped believing in God for a little bit. Because it's hard to believe in God when you go to church on a Saturday, you pray happiness and joy, and then you come home to beatings and anger and alcoholism. It's just like, man, I'm gonna close that because I feel there's something going on back there. Give me 1 second. So I do believe that being raised believing in God has helped me a lot, and seeing God manifest in my life multiple times has helped me a lot. And I was just having these thoughts and feelings, how amazing my life really is, the closer I get to God. But truly, not fake, because I've been the guy who does things to make a show and just fake. I'm a good person. But then I'll come home, and if at the time my ex told me to do my dishes, I didn't even want to do the dishes. It's like, no, like you know what I mean? Like everybody wants to change the world, nobody wants to do the dishes. So now I'm doing differently. I'm doing certain things where it's just like, no, I'm not just being spiritual out there. And that's when everything changed for me. When I'm being spiritual all the time. Not perfect. I ain't telling you I'm doing everything perfect at all. But I'm definitely trying. I definitely believe in the progress rather than perfection. It's like if I'm doing a little bit better than yesterday, I'm good. I'm doing better than last year, I'm good. If I'm learning a little bit, I'm good. And since God has been in my life, man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like literally, I got to pray and things automatically happen. I go like, what? God, like that? We getting like that, guy? I get excited. When you pray for something and it happens, and even now, something I love is like, I always want things on my time, but God doesn't give it on my time. He gives it in the right time. Why didn't I graduate the first time around when I was 18? God knows. My journey and what's keeping me happy and staying in the moment. Like in the midst of all this that's going on, in my page, I haven't shared much about Black Lives Matter, because there's a lot of information already out there. There's so much out there. Everybody's posting it. You know what I mean? So what I'm like, what can I do for it? Spread positive energy. You know what I mean? So that maybe that positive message I posted while they're writing may be just the thing that keeps you peaceful, that keeps you from doing that next step. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm all about, just spreading those positive notes.
I think you brought up something really good. Well, you said a lot of good stuff, but I think really finding what your purpose and what your role is. Like you said, it may not be posting Black Lives Matter all over your page, but you might be encouraging or inspiring somebody who maybe is out there on the front line doing something, or maybe they're not on the front line and maybe they're just struggling because what's going on in the world right now is a lot and it's heavy and the energy is fear and dark. And so I really like that you said that, because I think it's so important that people find what their role and what their purpose is. So that's my question for you. I know you said you talked about, spreading light and being positive and going back to school, even though it was difficult. What do you think your story looks like going forward? What does Tony's story look like moving forward? Because we know that stories, like, as long as we're alive, and even sometimes after we go, like, our stories are continuing and we're always going to be impacting people. So what does your story look like moving forward?
Wow, that's a beautiful question, and I hope that it's exactly what it's pretty similar to now, but me being more to the point that if somebody were to need advice, I can go right to a book or something that I learned, even from the Bible, grab scripture and become that knowledgeable. That's what I ultimately pray for: wisdom. God, please give me the wisdom to help people. Give me the wisdom to go about this. Give me, like, that's what I'm praying for, because ultimately I'm happy whether I'm rich or I'm not rich. You know what I mean? To me, you can compare me with the happiest people in the world. I'm up there, and I'm eating a banana. You know what I mean? Because that's how happy I get over the smallest things. You know what I mean? Yesterday I was meditating, looking at the sky. I was the happiest person in the world, And if I could, like, start showing people or teaching people that were where I was at, because ultimately I want to help the people that were where I was at before, the crystal meth addicts, the coke heads, the drug addicts, the alcoholics. You know why? Because I get it. I understand your pain. I've been through it, But now let me show you God. And not the God that we're programmed to believe in, that it's just like, hey, if you do bad, you're going to go to hell. No, not that God. I'm the kind of guy that's going to come up to you. I did this. Come here. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. When was the last time you hugged somebody? When was the last time somebody hugged you and just held you and you felt safe and you felt good and you felt like you're not being judged? Because that's how ultimate change is. Like, that's how things really change, in my opinion. My job is to love my enemy. There's a lot of bad things people have done to me, and I pray for their greatness. I go, God, please just, like, bless them. Let them. And I ran into somebody. They looked at me, and I'm like, bro, you don't remember being mean to me. And they were just the nicest person to me. And I could have been like, man, forget you. But nah, come here, man. Bring it in. And that's how we can change these things. One of the things I used to, growing up, I used to not be very proud that my mom was a housekeeper. You know what I mean? While my other friends' moms were doctors, teachers, And eventually my mom started raising the kids from the lady that she worked for. Now my mom's raising these wonderful, amazing white kids. A Latina is raising white kids. And then I saw that movie, what was it, where this guy who was the servant for someone very important.
The Help?
Yeah, The Help was one of them. There's 2 movies that I'm thinking about, but The Help was one of them. And now I'm looking at these kids love Latinos. You know what I mean? Like, I never realized the influence my mother was actually making in people's lives and giving them a different perspective of what a Latino is. They love my mom unconditionally, And then now I look up and something that I think is quite amazing, which I got to say, Mom, props to you. My mom's name is in Mars. How many Americans can you say that their name is in Mars? So my mom's boss is a scientist, and he worked on the rover that they sent to Mars, and he put his family's name in there. And for him to include my mom as family, whoo, man, it's just like, my mom, you came from nothing. Like, you struggled your way up. You were always humble. You gave your best. Now you're living an amazing life, and your freaking name is in Mars. And it reminded me of like things like that a lot of people, we're so hard on ourselves for not being a certain place in our lives, not knowing that that's exactly where we need to be. That's where God wants us, so we can touch the people around us. I don't have to touch a million people. All I got to do is touch one.
I love that because it's such a story, especially with your mom. It's such a story of full circle. So a lot of times we can look at people and wonder, well, why are they not doing this, or what is this and what is that? And I think the blessing in that is that you were able to witness. And like you said, maybe in society that might not have been the most important role to have, but she was raising people and helping them become decent human beings. And I was actually talking to someone about that. And I was like, the way this world is going to change is for the younger generation to be raised by people who are conscious and who want to be good people and who want to help people, because the children are looking up to us. And so I think that's a really good point. So one more thing I just wanted to ask you, if you could just encourage the people who are listening, people who maybe are struggling, either whether it just be addiction or just with having true inner peace and joy. Because when I talk to you, I feel like you just exude, you have joy and you have peace, and it's real. Like, you're not just doing it, but it's a real joy. And so if you could just talk to people for just a couple of minutes and encourage them, so that if they're struggling, if they're fearful, just give them some encouragement. If you could just close with that, I would really appreciate it.
I think that's a great question. And as you're saying that question, all I can think about was when I was locked up. Because when you're locked up, they tell you when to wake up. They tell you when to eat. You're sharing a toilet with 4 other guys. It's not easy to be happy in there, is what I'm saying. And I remember everybody else used to always, because my first name is George. George, how are you so happy in here? How are you so happy? I'm like, hey guys, I'm just gonna enjoy my time. I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna read. I get to read, guys. I get to read. And they were like, George. And then they used to always clown on me because I called it my dorm. All right, guys, I'm gonna go to my dorm. I stopped calling it my jail cell. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, it's a state of mind. It's all a state of mind. We've been programmed. If we were raised by parents that complained a lot, we're gonna probably complain a lot. And it's a programming. I was blessed to have a father that no matter what happened, even if we just had a tortilla to eat that day, he'll make that tortilla be the best looking tortilla he ever ate. And I got that from him, and I got that from my mom. The fact that we are able to, no matter what happens, stay positive, stay happy. You know what I mean? I remember when these guys, we got sloppy joes one time in jail. One of them said, well, I don't want to eat this. This is animal food. This is crap. I don't want to eat this. I went up to him, hey man, can I have it? You know what I mean? One man's trash is another man's treasure. I looked at it, man, I ate 2 sloppy joes. I'm going to sleep good. So if you are going through it and it's very, very hard, count your blessings. Count your blessings, because isn't that the reason we're writing for? Or isn't that the reason we're protesting for? For somebody that is no longer with us? Because somebody's life got cut short way beyond its time? At least I can do is enjoy what I have. Because just like that, you may have nothing at all. So if I have 2 sloppy joes in a cell with 4 other guys while one of them's using the restroom and I'm trying to eat here, you know what I mean? and I'm eating a sloppy Joe while you're at the restroom. I'm just saying, if I could be happy in that, you can be happy no matter what you're going through, because only through being happy will more blessings come. And that's how I got out of it, to be honest. The more I complained, the worse it got. But the moment I went, you know what? I got a lollipop. Let me be grateful for this lollipop. Thank you, lollipop. Guess what I got the next day? Soda and chips. Then I got a burger and a meal. Then I got chicken. You know what I mean? It worked their way up. But it didn't start until I started being positive. So that's what I would say. Start being more positive. Be really conscious of what your thoughts are doing. And realize that we're alive, man. We're alive.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We could probably talk for another hour and a half. Like, we didn't even get to unpack everything, but I really appreciate what you shared, and I know it's going to bless somebody. I'm going to put his social media information. I'm going to attach it to this live video so that you guys can follow him. He has really positive things on his page. He also has his own show that he does on his Instagram page. So I definitely want to send you guys his way because he's just a complete blessing. And I know you guys are blessed by listening today. So I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Tony, I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you guys.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for viewing Every Story Matters. Be sure to tune in next time when Jessica takes her mic off mute as she continues her journey to find stories that inspire and uplift our communities.